Welcome back to the Music Theory Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you'd like us to analyze next.
Good morning.
Good morning, welcome.
Yeah, I need to do something. You did quite a lot recently, so I thought I might just play you something what I practiced like a half day. I hope it's gonna be fine. And you will tell me what we will talk about today.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna talk about, but a hypothesis would be thirds relationships. Yeah, I don't know. I could go into greater details to explain what you just played, but that's what I noticed, right? The way you went from C major to E major. Over a German sixth that's resolved to a 6/4 suspension over B, and then you went to E major. So that's what I noticed. This very striking modulation.
Yeah, this is all a big part of the video, but it's also about the form model.
Ah, okay. It was like ABA, right? So you had this little tonic, dominant tonic thingy going on.
Yeah.
Then you had this Abschiedsseptime, so to speak, so the passing dominant that resolved as a German sixth, that went to E. Yeah. Like this, exactly.
Yeah, but to be more precise, it was a complete period. So it was really ABA B or ABA, rather ABA C, let's say.
Okay, yeah.
Correct. So today it's about romantic periods that modulate in the third scale degree, chromatic or not.
Yeah.
Could be also the diatonic third scale degree in a period structure. And this is the second video for romantic composing in romantic style or improvising in romantic style. And this was just a rendition of a model of mine, or it's not my model, I stole it, of course, because it's about stealing things, right? We want to emulate. Yeah. I thought maybe it's good to really devise some very simple half-note models for these romantic periods or periods that go into a mediant.
Mm-hmm.
And as you already mentioned, it's about modulating to a third scale degree within the period or the third scale degree as a chromatic mediant, and we are modulating via the German sixth, which I actually don't know how to write in Roman numeral analysis, but maybe that's okay. Well, but I think that's actually a strong suit of the function theory, which would say it's a dominant chord to actually B major, so being F sharp and stuff, right?
Yeah.
F sharp chord. Or also jazz musicians who would just say, well, of course, a C major can go to F and can also go to right? So tritone substitution. So I want to try to just give some insights about maybe also how to improvise and also how to compose. And I think these two things are quite linked together, right?
Yes.
And for the improvisation, this is very standard stuff. I would recommend playing these models throughout the keys. Maybe before we go then to the modulation devices, let me just introduce the models. Okay, so I used for this little presentation, I used actually the 1B version, but let's start with the 1A version, so to speak. Something like that.
Yeah.
And the only thing that would change would be, and now let's go to the 1B version, would be the 6/4 chord being already an E major chord. Right, and then maybe this one. And then the consequent phrase is the same.
Yes.
So it's really a tiny difference. Oh, here I have just another, if you want to have a little bit more fun with chords, some secondary dominants. So it's not really a period in a motivic sense, because I changed the A phrase, but
it's harmonically speaking, it works like a period.
Yeah, true. So a loose period, maybe something like that. Okay, so but that was just for fun. Maybe another thing to do. The second version would be placing the mediant cadence on the very end of the period, which I would call a rather open period. Because then you would have to deal with the modulation which just occurred, and so it's a bit more open, although it's a real cadence.
I would like to point out the famous Mozart fifth in the antecedent phrase here. A flat going to G, E flat going to D.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm proud of it.
I think very common. I would say there are two ways of avoiding them. One, the most traditional one, is to do 6/4 suspension instead of just 4.
Yeah.
I would also think something I have in my ear somehow is doing an anticipation of the D in the soprano voice would also work.
So going into the very nice 3/4 augmented 6 chord.
Yeah, the French.
Yeah, that's actually very nice. Yeah. You can do that as well. So of course it is kind of you can change a lot of things. I always the point is you sort of want to prolong the dominant for 2 bars for the first two, the tonic for the first 2 bars.
Yeah.
And this is a very non-creative way to do it. I think it's also very pretty to have this diminished chord as a neighboring note chord. this would be also very nice, a bit more romantic prolongation, especially when you do a nice suspension.
Yes.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that romantic composers always use complicated things.
Yeah,
in
true.
These.
And I really
Like
wanted, and you should, really wanted to stick to a normal outlier and not overload it.
But I even have an example in mind from a Chopin mazurka, in which he doesn't even bring the dominant, right? It's just tonic. So, because people tend to think, especially students tend to think that romantic harmony is systematically complicated.
Yeah.
And it's just not true, right? It can be actually extremely simple and very effective.
Yeah. This I thought about that, about just writing tonic. When you have this this half note model stuff, it just doesn't work so well. So I would recommend, if you wanna have a very stable tonic for 2 bars, you should devise some sort of playing technique which would make it bearable, right? So I don't know, repetitions, something like that, or chord.
Yes, the Chopin one has a dotted rhythm and an arpeggio. It's like dum pari dum pam pari dum. Right. So doing that kind of ostinato rhythm will help stabilize that kind of harmonic simplicity.
True. And this is, I think, this is something you can then do when you actually compose a little bit already, and then you can change the intricacies of the model if you want to do that. You don't have to. It's just a rendition to have some sort of a logical 8-bar model, right? So it's not written in stone. Yeah, so the last one is self-explanatory, right? 2B would be like 2A, but we would go to E major. To have the surprise in the end, and then you could go on, try to find a way back, or maybe have a B section. Now the second thing I want to do is I tried this on myself, so I'm learning a little bit, playing romantically, so to speak, just a little bit on the piano, and I played my models, and then I played on G major and on D major and stuff like that. And it was quite boring because there was no modulation, and it's actually fun to modulate between the 8-bar periods. So I want to introduce some romantic modulation devices.
Okay.
So imagine we have again this first 8-bar period. And now we want to go to the upper fifth, and I'm going to change to this one. Can go on and on, right?
Yeah.
So I always say you don't have to play it in all keys at once. Just go from C and then take the first sharp regions and then the first flat regions, because they are the most important still, right?
Yeah, of course.
So if I want to go lower, maybe you can just try this. So I'm gonna just play the consequent phrase of my period. I could go on and on.
Yeah.
You have to watch out for the octaves sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's exactly the kind of models I teach also to modulate to upper and lower fifth. But you ornamented them very well. They're very pretty.
Yeah, you can probably do a simpler version, right? Because now we have a very simple model and maybe a little bit more thought through modulation device. But these modulations are so short, and I thought you can actually train them in different keys, because it's just 2-3 bars, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's manageable to play them in that thought out way, make it a little bit prettier, and having a little bit more fun of it.
Yeah.
Let's say you have already done, I don't know, 3 keys to the left, 3 keys to the right. Maybe you wanna start from C and then go a little bit more boldly to through the tonalities. So you might want to check the modulation into the upper minor third. So again, consequent phrase. And then you can actually go on, or maybe combine modulation devices.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, so hopefully this is just having a little bit more fun playing these models, which I admit are a little bit. It seems not very. It's not much art in it. It's technique, right? But I think it's very important to have the harmonic rhythm, to have a feeling when the cadences should appear, right? And you can then change all kinds of things when you compose or when you feel very sure about what you are doing. But this gives you a little bit security, right?
Yes, exactly. And actually, I'm pretty sure a lot of people could see these models in real life music, right? So it would also be interesting to see if anybody who's watching this could comment something that they know uses the same kind of device. Actually, I would be interested in knowing. It's always good to have a lot of examples for these things.
Yeah, this would be really interesting, and rather look at the cadences, right? The stuff between is maybe not, don't have to be too literal about it, but the cadences, the mediant cadences on bar 4 and bar 8, something like this. This would be very nice to have even more examples in the list. So this is almost the end already.
Okay.
I have one composed version again for the diatonic third. So I was quite literal about it.
Yeah.
And I did something that is maybe a bit problematic, but sounds very beautiful. And there you can see it's not from me, because I wouldn't dare to do that. Doubling the 7 in the first bar.
Yeah.
And then like the 7 will be consonant in the next sound, but I wouldn't resolve. I would just resolve the 7 in one voice.
Yeah.
It's not exactly like that, but there is an art song of Beethoven's cycle An die ferne Geliebte, Opus 98. Maybe somebody wanna look it up. So don't wanna give it away, but Beethoven also doubles the 7, but then he does it a little bit different. Okay, but quite similar.
Yeah.
So I'm very sure that somebody will find out. Great. So just to show how you can play with these things a little bit, I wrote alternative consequent phrase. So this is nice for ternary form, right? Where you would repeat the period, and then you could actually prolong it and make it, maybe now it's a 9-bar period.
Yeah.
Not an 8-bar period, and then you would have a clear device. Okay, here we will end the piece, and in the beginning, it is just not that of a large ending. So this is also something I would recommend. Or changing the consequent phrase when you wanna end your little ternary form.
Yeah.
And this is the point I want to get to in the very last minutes of this video. It is about what we actually can do next, right? So apart, of course, from transposing everything, as I showed before, I would recommend devising own models, because it's just tiny thing from all the possibilities you can do, right? I restrained myself to major key, and I restrained myself to the modulation in the period through the German sixth, which is quite neat, but you can do it probably in another way.
Yeah, of course.
So this would be very interesting to devise alternative models, and of course models for the minor key, and of course composing stuff from these models, and in a broader context use it in a ternary form. And I did exactly that in my first romantic work.
Yes. You mean the video that you posted of your own romantic piece?
Yeah, my first romantic piece. Yeah. So I had a period, and then I had a middle part, and then again the period prolonged. So why did I do this second video? Could ask. So there's already a tutorial. The previous video was really a combination of analysis of works, constructing models, which are quite similar to models I used in this video, but not the same, and then recomposing these models.
Yeah.
I wanted to be today a little bit more practical, already give some very neat models which are very easy to transpose in different keys. So I really wanted to give a very clear framework what you could do regarding improvisation and then composition, and it has really more to do with practical things and not analyzing so much, right? So analysis would be, it's always a fruitful endeavor, but at some point you just have to do stuff. So that's always my problem. I want to analyze 100 pieces, but I'm not doing stuff then, and you actually have to go to trust your intuition at some point and just go out and composing stuff, writing stuff.
Yeah, of course, and that kind of models is extremely helpful for these things. Composing and improvising, as you said early in the video, this is extremely empowering actually as a musician, right? To have that kind of vocabulary and be able to use it for these things.
Yeah, I would say too. Yeah, it is. You understand the music better, and you actually can produce, can be a little bit creative, not only to interpret it, but also to maybe produce something. And you are the kind of person that integrates improvisation into concerts, which is sort of a broadly lost perspective. And I think you would really distinguish yourself, or you distinguish yourself via improvisation. And not so many people are doing it, at least in the 19th century area. In Baroque area, you would have to deal with many people who actually can do that quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this, I hope, might be of some interest, and I would be really interested in also compositions, right? If somebody would take one of these period models and say, well, let me try a composition. I'd like to discuss that, but well,
definitely, yes.
If somebody would like to do that, yeah.
Yeah, probably somebody within our immense community will have something to show us.
Definitely. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so first time we actually devised homeworks for the audience.
Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.